And this is now what you were talking about, Van Gisbergen, who's got great pace and looking to do... I thought he was going to do a little late dive on Cam Waters at 11, but he's been able to close that gap. You reported the gap, and there they are. It's almost a second a lap or over.
It was 4+ seconds when Shane went out there on those fresh tyres. In fact, after he cleared some of those other competitors from a few laps ago, it was 4.5 odd seconds, and he's got it down to nothing. So the way he's tracking at the moment, he'll get by. He's got tremendous pace, so this might shift Van Gisbergen up into 7th. He is a hard charger. What was that time certain number again you mentioned, Mark? Was it 12?
Yeah, 6:13 plus 1 lap.
So we're at 18:11 here at the moment, 6:11. So even though it's showing six laps remaining, there's not much time for Van Gisbergen to get it done. He's just a terrier, isn't he? I mean, he starts lap 1 of the championship. Here he goes down the inside at 8. Is he going to get that done? Not quite. Cam's not ready to surrender that one. The point I was going to make is on lap 1 of the championship year, Shane Van Gisbergen's at 11/10, and on the last laps of the year, he's at 11/10. He is all over the back of Waters here. What a great battle. Both of them are on the slide from turn 10. Now he jams it down the inside, forces the issue. They make a little bit of contact, and Van Gisbergen gets it done, but it's not quite complete. They rubbed in the crisscross on the run to the final corner. Nose-to-tail contact. Cam's giving him some hurry up in the process, and Van Gisbergen pops out the other side in 7th. They might be about to get another one with 1 lap remaining. We've got a 9/10 of a second margin. Currently the podium is Van Gis, Waters and Mostert. Fastest again in the last sector for Van Gisbergen. What an incredible drive for him today. The last and most important lap of this race for him. And he's a picture of absolute concentration.
A 5.64 on that lap's the fastest lap of the race on lap 160. That's an emphatic statement by Van Gisbergen. Holden have won 33 times on the mountain. Is this their 34th? They've won 569 race wins in the Australian Touring Car Championship or Supercars Championship. Will this be 570?
They dare not blink. They dare not breathe at Triple Eight Race Engineering and the Red Bull Holden Racing Team. It might be win number 40 in his career for Van Gisbergen. He's been on the podium 115 times, but if he can pull this one off, it'll be special. Runs it over the top of the hill for the last time for Shane Van Gisbergen. 3 kilometres remaining. That's all that separates him from the greatest prize in Australian motorsport. Shane Van Gisbergen has got control of this motor race. He's put together a beautiful drive today. Cam Waters in 2nd place. What a performance. Lines it up through Forest Elbow. Remember the start of the weekend, that's where it all went sideways for him with Tim Slade early in the day. But now the last sequence of gear changes. And stop and consider this, Mark. He was the runner-up here in 2016. He missed out by 1/10 of a second. He was the runner-up here last year. He missed out by 7/10 of a second. But more telling was in 2014. He had this thing by the throat and it got away from him. He should have won on that occasion, but he's going to do it today. He makes the run down to the final corner, and Shane Van Gisbergen is about to put his foot on the brake for the very last time and line it up to the checkered flag. The 31-year-old Kiwi is the master of Bathurst, and Shane Van Gisbergen takes victory at Mount Panorama.
Now, Waters is going to be under immense pressure here. They've made that too tight. That's too tight. Here he comes. Van Gisbergen's got to run. He'll have warm tyres and he'll outbrake him. He'll outbrake him. He'll be able to get across. He'll be able to get across and stop it. And he does. They made that too tight. You needed to put less fuel in to keep the track position.
And it wasn't much. It was only 38 litres. Plays 36 for Shane, so maybe half a second difference. It's on out there at the moment, the battle between these two. Let's check it out once more in the replay. The Repco replay shows how much weaving and dodging's going on at the end of Mountain Straight. Shane moved to make sure that there was a disincentive for Cam. Here's the rejoin. So he got out in front of him, but he's got a cold tyre. And it looks on our dead reckoning numbers that they put an extra 2 litres in Cam's car over Van Gisbergen.
They come in on lap 25. He's got the freshest tyres. They made a bold move because they put 2 tyres on the rear of the car. He moves it to the inside. Cam Waters. Now, can he get around here? This is the one that we need to look at because he's doing the crisscross. He's got it done. He's able to get down the inside. Beautiful manoeuvre. And can he maintain this spot now? The crowd's gone mad in the grandstand.
Unbelievable. They are side by side on the run down to one. Waters is trying to squeeze. There is nothing between the cars. Cam was sliding on the way in there, and here comes Whincup for a bite of this as well. Look at the grin on their faces standing in the garage. They're watching in both those garages at the moment. They dare not breathe. But Shane Van Gisbergen's got the lead of the motor race with one lap remaining at Sandown. He's got a broken left collarbone. They patched him up in surgery. We openly asked the question at the top of the day, could he even drive a car, let alone a racing car? He qualified 17th. He should not be where he is on the racetrack at the moment. What a ridiculously amazing storyline for Van Gisbergen.
Absolutely unbelievable. He's been on painkillers. He's been working hard with Chris Brady and Dr. Carl Lee, but he has done the most amazing job I've ever seen from Van Gisbergen today.
Unbelievable drive. Shane Van Gisbergen is the winner at Sandown after 36 crazy laps. So last time through for Waters, how's this? A 1 minute 50.85 for Van Gisbergen, a 1 minute 50.83. 2/100ths of a second was the difference between them. Different drivers, different cars, different engineering philosophies. Age of the tyres is different, and yet the lap speed absolutely locked together.
Remember the epic battle these two blokes had at Bathurst last year? It was one of the great battles, wasn't it? Van Gisbergen versus Waters. Van Gisbergen and Tander were able to prevail. But today, for confidence, if this young bloke can get away from Van Gisbergen through the course of the last half a lap, if he can get away with this today, this is a huge moment for Cam Waters and Tickford, because they've had to battle the whole way. I reckon Shane's given it up.
He's got a margin.
Yep.
It's back out to 0.6 of a second. There's a beautiful shot of that car just drifting all four wheels across the road, Cam Waters. He's at the maximum at the moment trying to get this victory. It represents 100 points, but a whole lot more, because the last time out for Tickford, there was a huge question mark around consistency, and it looks as though they've been able to dial that into the car this weekend. He's getting closer and closer to tasting victory. Turns 15 and 16 in the middle of the complex. Only a couple of corners to run now. It is still 0.5 of a second. Van Gisbergen throwing everything at it, but he'll be on the podium again, and that preserves his championship lead. Nothing in it as they sequence their final gear changes. Into the right-hander. One corner remaining now for Waters. He's just got to get through here cleanly, which he's done. He's pulled it up and slid it out the other side. A breakthrough victory for Cam Waters and the Monster Mustang.
Last lap. Can Cam Waters hold him out? For Ford fans, you have Will Davison in behind Shane Van Gisbergen. Can Cam Waters, for 2.86, hold the very aggressive and very, very good Kiwi at bay?
Needs to be accurate. Get it to the apex at 2, does it beautifully. Don't spin the tyre up. Good drive traction of 2. First job tick. Get it to the apex at 3. Nicely done. Minimise the wheel spin over the bump. Job 2, done. Van Gisbergen hasn't got anything for him. As long as Waters doesn't make a mistake here, he will bring this Monster Energy Mustang back to victory lane. Into 7. This is a critical one. Nicely over the curb at 7. Nicely over the curb at 8. Don't get too sideways over the bumps through turn 10 as we go across Boundary Street. Get that done. Van Gisbergen, what's the gap? It's 0.8 of a second. He's not there.
What a great job. What a great job. You said it before. They got lapped last time they were here. They got beaten by 37 seconds. And this drive and this team have fought back. He said yesterday when he crossed the line, what a bounce back, boys, and they've done it again. Cam Waters, congratulations, superb drive. He's done it again. Van Gisbergen's put the same move on. And what he does is he gets up there, he only makes a 3/4 pass, They've had a little bump again. He only makes a three-quarter pass, but he purposely hits them. And when he hits them, both of them got sideways and he's got him. And that's what it is. So he's actually doing it. It's a craft. It's gamesmanship. It's absolutely what he's doing. So here you go. So there's the bird.
Waters in search of a victory for the first one since Townsville last year. And Van Gisbergen wanting to continue that form and assert himself even further in the lead. And he chases him up the hill into turn 3. Can he get by? He's right on him, a nail biter down the hill now into turn 4. There's only a car length between them. Massive pressure on Cam Waters, who cannot afford a misstep, particularly up here, as Mark Scaife suggested, into turn 7. This is the exit of 5. Here comes the curb at 6. Bang, over the top of it. Vulnerability right here, and Van Gisbergen knows it, and he shoves the nose up the inside, but it's not quite enough. Out the other side, and still Waters has got a margin, but it's only just barely. If he can hang on to this, it'll be a great under-pressure victory for Waters. And Van Gisbergen tries to drive it out the other side of 9, but he doesn't quite have enough. He's got 3 corners remaining. This is 10. Waters survives out the other side. Now it's 2 corners that separate Cam Waters from a potential victory. They fought for this one at Monster. Van Gisbergen bombs it down the inside of 9, and he's almost got up there. And they come together in the final corner. And Gizzy backs away from it. And Cam Waters, a huge victory at Winton.
There you go. Now Shane will come from the outside and try to get a run off 2 to get down the inside at 3. He's got the run. Can he get it done? He moves it over. He's done a dive. He's got it to the inside. Beautifully executed manoeuvre.
Great job. And you know what? Cam covered so aggressively at 1. He hooked it over the curb a bit and it stumbled out the other side. And imagine what life looks like when you're about 10 cars back. It's a brownout on the screen. You cannot see. And look in the background at just how terrible that is. And the cars still reach well north of 250 odd kilometres an hour in these conditions. Turn 1, where do you brake? Who's around you? How aggressive do you lean on the car under brakes and through the right-hander at turn 1? They've actually done a very good job as a group to be able to get through there. Brody Kostecki's made 1 spot. He's come up to 12. It's still Waters over Dick Pasquale and Van Gisbergen as they tippy-toe. They try and find where the grip is. They'll be short-shifting between the low and the higher gears to try and look after and manage the wheel spin as much as they can. And you do not want to lock a brake, so they've got more rear brake bias going here at the moment. You don't want the front slot because then you can't steer and turn the car. Here comes Shane Van Gisbergen. He relishes this stuff. He made a comment at a wet Sydney Motorsport Park earlier how much he was enjoying driving in these atrocious conditions. He's got amazing skill. Recently done some very successful rallying in New Zealand as well. Water's slithering all over the place. It's a river of water out there at the moment.
And this man used to be very good at it, Jamie Whincup. He'll be looking at his 2 charges. Now, Brock Feeney's trying the outside go-kart line because we spoke about the circuit rubbering up. Where you get rubber on the racing line, down the inside. Anton gets it done. This is turn 13. Right round the outside is Van Gisbergen, who was disappearing off the road. That was Courtney, wasn't it?
They were almost 3 wide at one point there in the right-hander at 13. Dick Pasquale under the attack at the moment. Waters clutching to the lead. He's back in it once more. Van Gisbergen gets up. Brock Feeney having a huge lunge down the inside. And Anton checked up. He's really having trouble getting these tyres to connect at the moment. Waters is under assault. He dives to the right. The crisscross is on from Van Gisbergen. He covers. Look at Feeney down the inside, battling for 3rd. You need to look in every direction at the moment. Now, is there a change for the lead? Does Van Gisbergen get up the inside? Yes, but does he carry too much speed into that final corner?
Yes.
The crisscross coming out the other side now for Waters. Here we go, it's a drag race down the front straight. Waters comes back 1 more time.
This is remarkable skill, folks. These are the best drivers of these sorts of cars in the world, have not driven in the wet all weekend, have not even thought about how wild these conditions are, can't see, and they are turning it on. This is fantastic.
And giving each other racing room when you can barely see where you're going yourself. let alone affording somebody some space on the outside. Waters on top one more time. Feeney, I beg your pardon, Van Gisbergen, then Feeney, then Di Pasquale. Anton looked like he was really battling. Check it out. This is what it looks like from Brock's car. And if you're further back in that pack, it's just shocking. So if you go back to 15, they're 10 seconds behind.
Already.
And that's largely due to a lack of visibility. Here we go again. It's a carbon copy. One more time, we've got Van Gisbergen trying to get power to the ground. This is what it looks like from onboard Shane's car.
Gee, that was close. Who's that?
Van Gisbergen. He's saying, I'll let him go. I can't see anything out in the rear view mirror. He knows that Brock's lurking, but he's got no idea where. It ends up being a case of braille. Sometimes you can literally feel the other car bumping into the rear bumper and down the side. So he has another nibble down the inside here. High intensity rain lights are the only thing you can sometimes see when you're in the following car. Waters covers. Van Gisbergen a little bit higher and wider. It looks like there's some pace coming again now to Anton Di Pasquale's car. I reckon those tyres didn't come up for the first lap or two, Mark.
Absolutely. So there'll be some disparity in what the teams decided to do regarding the initial tyre pressures and therefore when they stop. So how you get the pressure and temperature to build up when the conditions are like this, almost impossible. The other thing that's a big factor, and it's spooky brave, is that if you're right behind the car in front, you're okay, because you're in the aero wash. Just like that, you can see. If you're back one car length, you can't see.
So getting out of the plume is what Mark's talking about there. Out of that final corner at 18, the shift lights are illuminating. So he sits in behind the rear wing. He'll have a think about pulling out the other end, but then when you do it, you're out of the tram tracks. It's slippery on the inside. When you get down here and have a look at Feeney, that's all about visibility. That's the reason why he's poked the nose there. So 0.2 of a second officially is the margin. Waters over Van Gisbergen. 0.8 of a second from Waters to Feeney, and we're focused here on Courtney and Mostert. Those guys battling for 6th and 7th.
So there's the field for you. And you'll start to see some divergent lines. The problem that you have when you start to be a pioneer and go out wide or do a different line. Here we go, up the inside. Can he get the nose of it, Maid? No. I thought he was going to try to force his way down the inside as you go over the brow for 7 and 8.
Great skill, great delicate touch. We're looking at top-class operators, as Mark described before, and there's nothing between the top 4. And Waters is the pioneer that Mark described a moment ago, and he's slipping and sliding everywhere, and now Van Gisbergen tries to round him up in another direction, runs wide in the process. He may lose a spot to his teammate, and he has. Brock Feeney jumps up one spot in the process. Now they're side by side through the left-hander at 10. How do they resolve this? Is there space given? There's only a couple of fouls. They've touched at 11. And Van Gisbergen lifts the throttle and gives him a breather. So that could have ended up in a plane crash at Pukekohe, but they got away with it. Turn 10, he goes for the crisscross out the other side. He looks to try and apply some better traction and drive out there. He's up to the outside of the Mustang at turn 10. Now it's around the other way. Is there courtesy? And Van Gisbergen takes the lead in New Zealand in the final race. So we're on the last lap. We've got less than 2,400 metres of running to go. And we're up here now at the turn 4 hairpin, side by side with Van Gisbergen. 3-time champion trying to round him up on the outside. He's gone high and wide. Tries to duck down underneath and get a square and exit for a faster departure. And they're having a wave to each other. And it's side by side and a bit of side drafting in the process. Through the right-hander at turn 5. They're still side by side. They give each other some space. It's on at the end of the back straight. Not much in it. And Shane holds him out very high and very wide and takes that move.
Watch the car come up there, Neil. It's straighter.
Well worth the price of admission on the Gold
God.
Coast. We have got 3 kilometres of racing to go, and the margin is 0.3 of a second. 1/3 of a second separates Cam Waters from Van Gisbergen. There's nothing in it through the first chicane. Waters, we know, might be vulnerable off turn 4. Van Gisbergen opens up the corner. Waters covers just temporarily to try and make sure that he doesn't get eaten under brakes. But there's nothing in it on the run up to the fast chicane. He's got to make that Mustang wider if he's going to hang on here. He closes the margin, closes the margin, closes the margin on Van Gisbergen. He throws the thing through the chicane. He's doing everything he can. Is he going to be able to survive the last corner? For Waters, it's supercar race number 248. For Van Gisbergen, it's supercar race number 508. They're both drawing on every last millimetre of experience to get them to the checkered flag. The Camaro wags its tail out of turn 13. Waters might be able to hang on, but it's going to be very, very close. He's got unbelievable traction, Van Gisbergen. What's it like out the other side? What an outstanding supercar race. And I think that Cam Waters has ticked